Shepherd. Promise me you'll tell them to subscribe for ad-free content.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what do you mean it's finally time? Because it's not May 15th at all. Well, you guys, y'all don't understand. The Drake connoisseurs, the OVOs, and especially, I had to wear the ICEMAN merch. Now you probably saying to yourself, that doesn't say ICEMAN at all. And I'm glad you said that, because at the end of the day, you know, we big steppers around here. Some will say size 7s.
Shepherd.
All right, my fault. Not size 7, but you get the point. And if you was wanting to see where this actually came from, just, you know, it's at the top of my link tree, and it may or may not be next to a white tank top. Why?
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
I guess the world may never know. Now, of course, without further ado, you know the reason that we're here is to get into more ICEMAN coverage, as, ladies and gentlemen, yet another leak has surfaced on the internet.
But then, you know what I'm saying, I was like, damn, look at the state of hip-hop. Like, what's going on?
And of course, Drake cannot catch a break when it comes to all these different leaks, as it's been all type of leaks in the past months, to the point where there was even a person on video, I remember covering it not too long ago, where he was in a car literally playing unreleased Drake tracks. And basically, I don't know if he was just holding those tracks ransom. I don't know if he was trying to blackmail Drake. But ultimately, when I covered it, I think the specific track was Legacy or Greatest. It was one of those. But when I covered it, it essentially told me that a lot of people has their hands on unreleased ICEMAN. Now, of course, Analytic Dreamz video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio, because I'm not saying that I have any. You know what I'm saying?
Whoop-de-doo.
Because that would be snitching.
Whoop-de-doo. If we beat these folk, whoop-de-doo. We beat them. We go forward.
But as far as the ICEMAN release, safe to say people did not want to wait. And now we have a very particular offering from the one and only Drake.
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
And Justin Bieber.
You guys, see, that's the problem.
Now, I don't want to get on my soapbox as a Drake fan, because we have a lot of stuff to dive into with this specific leak. But when it comes to Drake and Justin Bieber, what happened to some sexy songs for you?
I know that ain't who I think it is.
I mean, you know, to the point where they had to replace your chorus with Party Next Door's chorus.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
And you may think I'm making this up. You know, my sources may be I made it up, right? So without further ado, let's go to some sexy songs for you. Let me see, some sexy songs for you. And the specific track that has, which one was it? I think it was Die Trying. The one with Party Next Door, Drake, and Yeppa. So the track title, Die Trying, allegedly, because I'm not trying to get sued, Justin Bieber was supposed to be on that track, and the chorus was replaced by Party Next Door for some reason. I think ultimately Justin Bieber is kind of pulling what Drake is right now, kind of just wanting all the attention to be on his latest album. As if you didn't know, Justin Bieber's album Swag did phenomenal, and that came out July 11th of 2025. And if you don't know, Some Sexy Songs For You came out earlier than that. So I don't think, yeah, it came out February 14th, 2025. So I don't know if Justin Bieber was just trying to hold all the anticipation of his musical output for his specific album, but for some reason he did end up on Some Sexy Songs For You. But then we have ICEMAN. And a particular track that a lot of people are saying is very phenomenal, mind you, is because of the Drake, you know, because of Drake's vocals. I ain't gonna cap to you.
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
Now to get my nerd Drake bag, so if you're not a real Drake fan, you may have to exit the segment. Because right now I have to get into my nerd bag, because this specific track, not only did it give me lyrical Drake vibes, but also, if you pay attention, a lot of engagement came from specific tracks like First Person Shooter, the track with Yeet. I'm talking about, what's that track called? I think it was For All the Dogs. So For All the Dogs, the most popular tracks off of that album were not the lyrical offerings, right? But then he dropped a whole deluxe pack for people who wanted to hear him as a lyricist, right? And did that do anything? Of course not.
You guys, see, that's the problem.
All these people want lyrical Drake, and nobody supports it as far as on the level of a first-person shooter, as far as the level of, what was the track with Yeet? I keep forgetting the name of that. The track with Yeet titled, is he not even credited? Let's see, where is he at? IDGAF. Okay, it's a PG podcast, so I'm not going to let you know what that stands for. So anyways, those specific tracks were the best performing tracks off of the album, along with the Sexy Red track with SZA, I believe, where they had the whole baby mama video, whatever. Rich Baby Daddy, that's what it's called. Yeah, so Rich Baby Daddy, those are the three best performing tracks off of the album. Of course, my favorite track, personally, was Away From Home. Now, I think that's the first time Drake ever went into his lyrical bag while also trying to have some sort of resemblance of a pop hit, basically like a pop chorus, because it wasn't a chorus, but basically the beat was more pop formatted than his usual lyrical tracks when it's just like a boom bap type beat, right? And hence the deluxe edition for All the Dogs. Now, of course, where am I going with all this? To bring it full circle, the leaked track from Drake and Justin Bieber, which doesn't have a title, of course. You just got to type in Drake, ICEMAN leak. It may pop up. You know what I'm saying? They may take it off the internet.
Whoop they do.
You know what I'm saying? Because with Spicy Hot, the leaked track, they took that off expeditiously, right? They was like, hold up, now I know
that ain't who I think it is.
UMG looking at people leak Drake unreleased tracks, and they said,
I know that ain't who I think.
Now, we've already been through this before with plot twists. We're not gonna talk about who's the owner of that specific account, but let's just say a lot of Drake leaks was happening through that Finsta. Let's just put it like that. So with this specific leak, UMG is trying to make sure Drake's not pulling another fast one. So when it comes to this specific offering, the reason why I compare the leaked track from Drake and Justin Bieber to Away From Home is because of the lyrical elements while also having more of a pop rhythm to it. It's not a boom bap type of beat where he's just rapping over, the most simplistic beat ever. The main thing is when you compare this track, I think it's a mix of Away From Home and Lemon Pepper Freestyle. That's how good I think this specific leak is. And of course, once again, if you just type in Drake, Justin Bieber, ICEMAN, it should pop up as far as the leak. On like SoundCloud type platforms, obviously not the DSPs. But when it comes to Drake specifically rapping in that pocket, I think, I'm not going to say it's the first time I ever heard him in that pocket, but the whole glass flow, when he was talking about how a kid sees the glass in the glass or something like that, and he keeps going right into the chorus, I think that pocket that he has specifically is more unique than we've heard in the past as far as Drake offerings. And for that, you may say I'm glazing because he's my favorite artist.
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
But I would say it is phenomenal rapping on that specific leak. Now, some people may be saying it's a AI track. Obviously, we're going to see what UMG does as far as taking the specific track down, because you never know. Sometimes UMG will go out their way to take specific tracks down, like they do with like they did with Spicy Hot, which lends you to believe that may or may not be on ICEMAN. So, anyways, there's a lot of leaks percolating on the internet. I think this is one of the better, if not the best one. I like the one when he's talking about when he starts coughing. And he says they hate me so much is a sickening thing, and then he goes into something else. And I think that goes into the Spicy Hot chorus. I get them all mixed up at this specific juncture because the Spicy Hot leak is my favorite. But if we're talking about leaks leading up into ICEMAN, that's going to release May 15th, especially if people are reportedly holding him ransom to release these to the world, fully with EQ'd and everything. I think that is a very particular issue that Drake's gonna have to deal with, especially in his camp, because you can't have specific leaks like this happening before the album occurs. Because if you don't know, over here at Notorious Mass Effect, we dive into the gaming and music IPs that notoriously affect the masses. And when it comes to him suing UMG, safe to say UMG, I'm not gonna say they're gonna drop Drake or they don't care about Drake, but Morgan Wallen currently has the second most played album in the world. BTS currently has the fourth most played album in the world. And of course, Justin Bieber, who we just mentioned earlier, with Swag, has the fifth most played album in the world. Now, why do I say that, ladies and gentlemen? It's because they're all under UMG. UMG currently has 57% of the entire music market share. Sony has 25%, Warner has 15%, and others, which is like smaller labels or just straight up independent acts, they accumulate for 3%. So the reason why I'm saying that is because I don't think UMG just wants Drake to flop horrendously. But when you look at his career first week sales, as far as views being his biggest in 2016 with 1 million first week, I don't think he's ever going to come close to that again. And even with vinyls, I don't think he's going to come close to that whilst beefing with his label. Beefing/suing his label. He went straight Karen. Aubrey Karen came back again to sue UMG, and that is going to bite him in the you-know-what whenever ICEMAN comes out. Now, of course, I think it's going to do immaculate as far as the first week sales. I forget what was it, fall of, let me see, first week sales. I think when it came to J. Cole and the fall off, I forget how much that did. Let me see. So I think the fall off did 280. So 280,000 first week. So at the very least, Drake's gonna surpass that because I mean he is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying, for a reason. So analytically speaking, he's gonna do above 300. I think that is the bare minimum. If he sells anything below that, I think it's a horrendous flop. And we're talking about Drake compared to Drake. But then we come to realize the marketing strategy that he's putting forth, having more effort compared to his other bodies of work, right? So now, when you look at, what was it? Some sexy song. Wait, hold on. I should have it on here. Let me see if I can find this right quick. Making sure I have some sexy. Okay. So some sexy songs for you did 246,000 first week. So a collab album from Drake almost did as much as J. Cole's Fall Off first week. So the reason why I'm saying that is because I believe Drake's ceiling is 500,000. I think his bare minimum is 300. That's like if it horrendously flops. I think he will end up doing somewhere between 4 to 480 as far as his first week sales. And of course, over here in Notorious Mass Effect, diving into the charts time and time again, I have to let you know that just because you sell the most does not mean you have the best product. And just because you don't sell does not mean you make, the most abysmal music ever, right? The two don't correlate. But when it comes to Drake, especially in the land of superstars, I want to put the analytics in perspective compared to all the other notoriously affecting the masses type artists out there like BTS, Ella Langley, that currently has the #1 most played project, and she just debuted 105,000 first week sales, right? I think before that she had like 180. So Drake's way bigger than her, right? So I think comparing him to the biggest outings, BTS did I think 600 and something thousand first week, which is the biggest in 2026. Drake's not coming near that because he's not on the level of BTS as far as a fandom. So now, objectively speaking, 500 I think is the ceiling. I think he'll do around, if I had to give you a specific estimate, I would say 400 to 480 is the sweet spot for Drake for ICEMAN. Anything higher than that is a mammoth of a success, especially suing your label. Anything lower than that will let you know that if UMG really wants to stop your movement as far as helping you get to certain platforms and certain playlists, I think it will showcase in the numbers. And Kanye is currently going through that right now. If there's any indication, he did like 200 and something. And so that's why I think Drake is at, he's bigger than Kanye as far as like as of right now. Musically, he's bigger. So now I think that's why I keep saying 300 is his bare minimum. I think he should do at least 4 to 480. So anyways, getting back into the leak track, I think this is a phenomenal pocket that he found himself in. Now, if it's AI, I'm gonna be a little let down because, of course, I would not mind to hear this on ICEMAN, as I think you don't hear this type of pocket too often. And the reason why I gave the similar tracks from Drake to like personally is to compare the quality level. So that's why I compared it to Lemon Pepper Freestyle and Away From Home. And you're talking to a real Drake fan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Drake's been my #1 artist, my #1 favorite artist for a minute, right? So now, I think when you look at the lyrical offering while also trying to keep some type of pop sound, I think he found this with this particular track. And I think if he actually ends up throwing Justin Bieber on this specific track, I think that could help out with the numbers as well. Because now that Justin Bieber got his, shine all to himself with his Swag album, I think he may end up being on a future Drake project. And hopefully that's ICEMAN. So with that being said, as far as the other rumored features, I do believe pun intended, Future, I believe, is actually rumored to be on the album. Now, of course, I don't know any of the features on the album, but when it comes to specific leaks and things of that nature, I do know there's a good amount of leaks floating around, and 2 or 3 of them may end up on ICEMAN. So I don't know who in the world is in Drake's camp leaking these tracks. Obviously, it got to be some type of VIP party or something. They maybe at Dave and Buster's with all the BBLs in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Shepherd.
Oh, my fault. I mean, all the beautiful, respectful women in the world. And they basically listening to unreleased Drake tracks. And then somebody had to, press the record button and put their phone in their pocket. Because that's what the audio sounds like as of right now. So anyways, that's basically not, when it comes to Drake, ICEMAN doesn't come out to May 15th. There's a whole website that a lot of people was like commenting like, oh, you gonna cover the website? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but
Whoop-de-doo.
I don't do hide and seek out here.
Whoop-de-doo.
You know what I'm saying?
We beat these folk. Whoop-de-doo. We beat them. We go for it.
I'll cover it when the actual music comes out. And this is actual music, even though it is a leak. This is actual music that's came out that may or may not be on ICEMAN. But I think it does kind of showcase that if it's real, Justin Bieber is on the album, and I think that's a W, but also that Drake is back in his bag, especially giving a away from home type of performance as far as lyrical quality, while also having more of a modern beat, I should say. So with that being said, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about Drake and the alleged leak track with Justin Bieber that may or may not be on ICEMAN? And when it comes to my ICEMAN shirt,
Shepherd.
I mean, when it comes to the upcoming release of ICEMAN, make sure to click my link tree in my bio. Let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about Drake's rollout as of right now as far as leading up into ICEMAN? And how much do you think Drake will sell in his first week? Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is almost here. Now, of course, when it comes to the GOAT,
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
we are waiting for ICEMAN, and it's set to come out May 15th. But hold up now.
But then, you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, look at the state of hip hop. Like, what's going on?
Even Aubrey Graham said himself, that is too long, as episode 4, the live stream, mind you, it is a live stream, you know, for everybody being highly critical of it. The live stream is scheduled to happen May 14th.
You guys.
So when it comes to that, safe to say, I think the actual live stream will go into the release of the album. So I think ultimately, I haven't even looked up the other episodes. I don't know how long they actually are, but it's going to happen right before midnight, in my opinion. I think when it comes to that, let me see, ICEMAN episode. And shout out to all my homies, all my close ones that follow me on Snapchat. Let's just say I may have gave them a little heads up that ICEMAN episode 4 was coming. And also, you know, there's also something else. It's also something else that may be dropping.
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
But, you know, my sources is I made it up. You know, at the end of the day got to end. You feel me?
Shepherd.
Now, I'm not saying Analytic Dreamz video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio. I'm just saying that my sources is I made it up. So with that being said, you know what I'm saying? If you wanted more detail,
Whoop de doo.
if you was wanting more specifics,
Whoop de doo.
if you was wanting me to...
Shepherd.
All right. So basically, episode 1 is 57 minutes in length. Episode 3 is 30 minutes. Episode 2 is 41 minutes. Why did I say in that order? I have no idea. But basically, the reason why I say that is because this is a whole live stream. The whole thing's live, right? So I think an hour before midnight, he will have this live stream, and then it will go into the release day of ICEMAN. That's what I think is going to happen. But of course, it could happen earlier because, you know, sometimes when it comes to live streams, it's a lot of moving parts. You know, live streams is not the easiest thing in the world to pull off, especially with the type of production that he was giving in episode 3. That, you know, Castanet called trash. But, you know, hey, I guess, you know, that's how it is. What has Castanet been up to? I believe he may end up being in ICEMAN episode 4. Obviously, it's just speculation. He may not actually be in it, but, you know, I think that would be an interesting full circle moment. So, with that being said, let's get into actual ICEMAN, the juicy details. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Goodness gracious. That was kind of crazy.
See, that's the problem.
Yeah, no, that was wild. So when it comes to ICEMAN, I believe this album is not only a statement for Drake, but he's already cemented in hip hop, and having his album having so much pressure, I think it just showcases that he is one of the greatest musicians of all time. And hold up now. Before you say it's glazing, objectively speaking, which, you know, even over here at Notorious Mass Effect, covering the gaming and music industry, the gaming and music IPs that notoriously affect the masses, I always have to say, just because you sell a lot does not mean you make the highest quality, right? Just because you don't sell does not mean you make just straight up trash. The two do not correlate. So when it comes to Drake, I believe he's one of the few artists where the consumption meets the quality level. Now, of course, I'm biased. Drake is my favorite artist, so I'm very, you know, straight front facing with that. I'm very like forward with that. But when it comes to Drake topping the charts, if you didn't know why I call him the GOAT, Drake holds the record for the most entries ever, right? With 359. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, 359 records as far as entering the Billboard Hot 100. Now, when it comes to the albums, he has 14 number 1 albums, the most by any rapper. It's not even close. You have to compare him to Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny to even get close to what he's doing right now. And then finally, last but not least, he has 13 number 1 tracks, tied for Michael Jackson for the most ever. Now, once again, just because you sell the most does not mean you make the highest quality. But of course, Drake is my favorite artist, so I think he does make pretty high quality. You know, arguably highest. But when it comes to objective metrics, I just wanted to showcase why we call him the GOAT. Because rap, specifically, is like being a running back in the NFL. The NFL in the music industry and a running back in the music industry is directly correlated to the hip-hop genre in the music industry. Hopefully that makes sense. So basically, you will have a 3 to 4 year run of being a top rapper, similar to how you could be the top running back for 3 to 4 years. But if you go past that and not only put up numbers, but still have chart-topping dominance, that is when we start to be like, what makes this certain individual stand out amongst the pack when it comes to time and time again proving the doubters wrong? And that's when we get into the LeBron territory. That's when we get into the Drake territory. That I don't know any other people as far as, I'm trying to think. Would it be like Messi or Ronaldo from soccer? Basically, the legends, the GOATs that are seemingly outperforming Father Time or outpacing Father Time. I think that's why we give them so much kudos, because it's very extremely difficult, especially in hip hop, to last this long, and not only last this long, but to stay on top. Now, of course, this is not just going to be a Drake Glaze-a-thon, because I do have to get into this particular point, which, you know, it hurts my heart, man.
You guys. See, that's the problem.
As you look at Drake, and this is one of the few times he's ever been completely absent from the Billboard Hot 100. Now, I know what you're saying. Didn't you just say that Drake has the most entries ever? Well, yes, that was in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the present. So when it comes to Drake being completely absent from the Billboard Hot 100, when it comes to singles, because of course, album-wise, even though it's not the highest, it's still a significant accomplishment, because Take Care is the 25th most played album in the world. Views is the 36th most played album in the world. So those are the top 2 albums from Drake currently. You can see what people are going back to as far as getting ready for ICEMAN. Now, for me, I go back to his latest offering. I've been listening to the Scary Hours edition of For All the Dogs for, you know, hey, you know, Scary Hours, you know. That's an interesting type of entry, ain't it?
Shepherd.
I'm just saying, you know, Scary Hours. If only there was another installment of Scary Hours. So anyways, that being said, the Scary Hours edition of For All the Dogs, I believe that specific mindset is what we're going to hear again in ICEMAN. Just obviously evolve because of the post-Kendrick beef. But Red Button, once again, to remind you, Red Button happened before the whole Kendrick, Metro, Future, A$AP Rocky beef, right? The 20v1 versus Drake. Red Button happened before that, and that was on Scary Edition for All the Dogs. So he was already about the beef with UMG, right? This just took it over the edge because he feels like UMG picked a side with Kendrick, and now he's suing them. Now, is that the greatest strategy in the world? Of course not. Suing your major label whilst putting out an album. I mean, my brother. How in the world? What? You thought that made sense?
You guys. See, that's the problem.
So suing your label while you're putting out an album under that label, I don't think it's the greatest strategy. If you notice, his last album with Party Next Door, Sony was credited. If you go to some sexy songs for you, let me see right here. Now, obviously, UMG still makes, you know, it still has a percentage on his album. But if you look at it, it says OVO sound under exclusive license to Santa Ana Label Group and OVO under exclusive license to Republic Records, a division of UMG Recordings. And then, of course, when you look at Party Next Door specifically, that man is under Sony. So having a major label debacle as far as Party Next Door being under Sony and you being under UMG, I think Drake is going to stray away from UMG artists as of right now and try to prioritize splitting the profit margins for UMG whilst also delivering an album. So that being said, that is the main play for Drake right now. Suing your label whilst putting out an album, and you're completely off of the Billboard Hot 100 when it comes to singles. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. I think if Drake was in the good graces of UMG, he would have at least 1 or 2 tracks charting in the top 100. I mean, he literally announced the album that's upcoming for May 15th. Michael Jackson just put out a movie. And yes, I'm comparing Drake to Michael Jackson because you just heard the previous statistics I read off. Michael Jackson and his album has made it to where he has a track charting as of right now. Billie Jean is the 30th most played track in the world. Whenever things happen like this, when it's a celebratory aspect leading up into an album, you would think it would have that same type of effect of the Michael movie coming out and now exponentially increasing the tracks of Michael's discography to the point where Billie Jean is the 38th most played track in the world. Basically, to bring it full circle, UMG and Drake beefing via the lawsuit that's still ongoing, mind you. It's still going. I mean, it has no type of resolution whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen. I know y'all may have seen a resolution as far as the lawsuit. That was somebody accusing Drake of using, or Spotify using bots on Drake. It was somebody using bots on Drake. Basically, that was casted out. You know, I mean, he's the GOAT for a reason.
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
If you could have payola and be the most played artist in the world, a lot of people would do it with a lot of money. It's not that simple. So anyways, when you look at the Drake and UMG beef, that brings me into my next point. So I think ICEMAN is not going to sell the way people think it's going to. I keep hearing 600, 500, which it may crack 500. That's if everything goes right. But you already heard my prediction. I think it's going to be around 450 to 480. And looking at the top releases of 2026, that makes me even more confident in my prediction. Because if you don't know, your boy may have gotten the Cardi B and the BTS prediction right. Before BTS Ari Rain came out, and of course you can look it up, BTS Analytic Dreamz with a Z. You can hear my coverage of BTS before they dropped that album Ari Rain. I was screaming to the high heavens that album was going to be the biggest release of 2026. And guess what? It ended up selling 641,000 first week. Now, when it comes to Cardi B, obviously you can see it on my TikTok. I think it's one of the pinned clips. But the reason why I say that is basically to let you know that covering the industry for quite some time, which is what we do over here at Notorious Mass Effect, you come to realize the patterns. And Drake is nowhere near BTS's level of stardom right now, coming off their mandatory military service hiatus, 4 to 5 year hiatus, I think, from the last group album. And all of that hiatus led up into a 641,000 first week sales. The second highest as of 2026, as of May 2026, is Harry Styles with 430,000. So it's not like I'm not putting respect on Aubrey Graham's name, right?
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
I feel like Stephen A. Smith right now. I'm not saying he's not going to have one of the biggest first week sales of 2026. I'm just saying he's not number one. Oh, my fault. That's it.
You guys.
Wrong drop.
See, that's the problem.
I'm just saying he may not have the number one album. He may have the second, because I believe he will do above 430,000. Anything below that, I'm not going to say it will showcase the decreasing sales of Drake, but it will showcase how beefing with your label whilst putting out an album is not the greatest idea in the world. You know what I'm saying?
But then, you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, look at the state of hip hop. Like, what's going on?
So if you didn't know, the top 5 is BTS Ari Rain with 641,000, Harry Styles with 430,000, Noah Kahan with 389,000, and of course Jermaine Cole with the fall off in 280,000, with the highest in rap. So Drake's gonna have at least 400, in my opinion. I think he's gonna do around 480,000, which would put him as the second biggest first week sales of 2026. I don't think he's nowhere near BTS's level of stardom. I'm open to being wrong. He's my favorite artist, so hopefully I'm wrong. But, just keeping it 8 more than 92, I think that's where he's going to land. So where does that put him in his landscape of albums as far as his career? Views is his biggest by far. 1.4 million first week, which is insane, by the way, because he didn't really do too many Taylor Swift tactics as far as 40 plus vinyls, right? He basically put out one vinyl and then he was like,
whoop-de-doo.
Y'all want physical merchandise as far as CDs, vinyls?
Whoop-de-doo.
As far as actual different variants of the vinyls?
Whoop-de-doo. And we beat these folk. Whoop-de-doo. We beat them. We go forward.
Drake will say we're gonna do these sales without vinyl variants, and guess what? Views doing 1 million first week is a humongous accomplishment, and that was back in the Meek Mill beef. So I think that was honestly his sales peak, because ever since then it's went down. 2018 he did 732,000 with Scorpion. 2011, let's go to his classic. Take Care. 2011, 631,000. Nothing Was the Same in 2013. 658,000. Certified Lover Boy in 2021, 613,000. Thank Me Later in 2010, 447,000. If you're reading this, it's too late. 2015, 535,000. For All the Dogs in 2023, 410,000. And of course, honestly, never mind some of the later albums, 204,000, which it was an experimental album. Not to make excuses for him, but you already know that it was experimental. And then Dark Lane's demo tape doing 223,000. Now, the reason why I said all that is to say this. If ICEMAN has around 480,000 first week, I think that's a W. Some people are saying 500, 600. 600 is out of the question, I think. Especially beefing with your label. Ladies and gentlemen, UMG, I keep saying this because I don't think people really understand the power of UMG. So, Noah Kahan with The Great Divide just put up 370,000 first week sales with The Great Divide. He's under UMG. Morgan Wallen with I'm the Problem currently has the third most played project in the world. He's under UMG. BTS's Ari Ring currently has the fifth most played album in the world. They're under UMG. You see where I'm going with this? Justin Bieber's sixth most played album in the world. He's under UMG. UMG is not hurting for superstars in the music industry. That is why beefing with your label while I was putting out an album is not the greatest idea. So now, when Drake puts out Iceman, it will top the charts. But as far as longevity, I think that's why we're seeing such an eccentric rollout. This is the best rollout I've ever seen in my my measly 26 years on Earth, right? This is the best rollout I've ever seen for Drake. And I think that's for a reason. As I was trying to rack my brain, I was like, what is the best rollout I've ever seen for a Drake album? And the only one I could really think of is honestly Views, because I know I had a lot of Toronto focus, but it fell back into the formulaic marketing, which is billboards, teases, etc. Iceman having the live streams is very unique. Having the ice sculpture type of fiasco where people was trying to break the ice to find a release date, that was very unique. And then of course, when it comes to the extras, as far as the Easter eggs of the live streaming episodes of Iceman, I think that's very unique because it's all playing together for the ultimate episode 4 finale that will showcase why in the world he's showing us what he's showing us. It's going to explain a lot of things in episode 4. Now, of course, I haven't seen it, but when it comes to actual rollouts in the Drake's discography, I think this is the best one for a reason. Drake and his marketing team understands that UMG is not sweating sales by any metric. They currently have 58% of the entire music market share, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about UMG, the label that Drake is suing currently. Just want to put it in perspective. Sony has 27%, Warner has 14%, and the others, which is smaller labels and independent acts, they currently have a whopping 1%. So when it comes to Iceman episode 4, that's set to come out May 14th, leading up into the album that will come out at midnight, May 14th at midnight, which is technically May 15th. This is going to be very interesting to watch. Obviously, you already know I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, Drake is my favorite artist for a reason. I got my Iceman shirt on. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here being a big stepper.
Shepherd.
All right, my fault. But you may or may not be able to get this shirt at the top of my link tree in my bio. You know what I'm saying? Support black business. You know what I'm saying? Come on now.
Give him some praise.
Come on now.
Give him some praise.
Stop playing.
Give him some praise.
Now, my big stepper t-shirt set to the side. The main thing I want to let y'all in on is my personal expectations for Iceman, because I don't think I've ever gotten to that. Over here covering the gaming and music IPs that notoriously affect the masses, we talk about analytics a lot, hence my name. So getting into my personal opinion about the album, I want a For All the Dogs Take Care mix. Now, before y'all be like, what in the world?
You guys. See, that's the problem.
You got to hear me out, because personally, I think Take Care is Scorpion is some of Drake's best bodies of work. Now, of course, if you listen to Drake himself talk about his best body of work, he definitely said Nothing Was the Same was his best body of work. He said it was the most concise, but me personally, I think Scorpion is up there as some of his best albums. Now, when you look at Views, I don't really need that sound again, because I think he perfected that sound on Views as far as Toronto and the overall city winter summer aspect. I think Iceman should be a combination. Combination. Oh, my fault. Yeah, that was me.
Shepherd.
Yeah, that's me. That's my fault. It should be a combination of Scorpion and Take Care. And this is the reason why I say that. Scorpion came off the Pusha T beef, which is why we literally had the March 14th track talking about his kid, right? Drake is not going to have a track like that as far as, talking about just him being exposed for a kid because, now he's open with his kids, so he's no need to talk about that. But you already know the allegations that Size 7 put on him, right? AKA White Tank Top. So when it comes to that type of vulnerability that he showcased on March 14th on Scorpion, that's the type of track I want. Now, when it comes to the R&B run, In My Feelings, After Dark, Final Fantasy, all of those tracks are straight classics in my opinion. And guess what? I didn't even say Jaded. You know what I'm saying? I think some people forget how much of a classic body of work Scorpion is because it came out recently. I don't know what it is about music, but people look at musicians and they say their latest work, their oldest work is always the best and the latest work is just mediocre. That's just how every artist is consumed. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Unless you're a new artist and all your work is new, right? But usually fans love your older work because it reminds them of that period of time where life may have been better. So anyways, when it comes to Drake, in his last album, Some Sexy Songs For You, that came out February 14, 2025, I also thought that was one of Drake's best bodies of work of all time. Y'all may think I'm glazing, but if you listen to Some Sexy Songs For You, that's literally one of Drake's best bodies of work in his whole discography. I mean, if I had to rank all of them, that had to be his own segment, honestly. But it's up there. I'm not going to say it's top 5 because that would be crazy. But it's definitely on the higher end of Drake's best bodies of work. So to get back into my personal expectations, I want Scorpion mixed with Take Care. I want vulnerability, but I also want hits. Pause. So when it comes to that, Drake is set to deliver. I think he will deliver. I think this type of pressure only brings the best out of those who are great. And y'all going to say I'm glazing, but Drake's my favorite artist. Every time I seen his back against the wall, he balled out. People say that he obviously, lost the beef to Kendrick, but to this day, I listen to Family Matters. I listen to Not Like Us, and I think to myself, man, hold on now.
But then, I was like, damn, look at the state of hip-hop. Like, what's going on?
Y'all gonna tell me with a straight face. I'm talking to you. Analytic Dreamz video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio. Y'all gonna tell me with a straight face that Drake was out here getting out rapped by Size 7 when you compare Family Matters to Not Like Us?
But then, I was like, damn, look at the state of hip-hop. Like, what's going on?
I really gotta know, man. I really gotta know because that man went at 50 different people and had killing blows, aka bars, for all of them. So anyways, as you can tell, I'm very much excited for Iceman. I think this is going to be an album of the decade type of feel, type of impact. Iceman is going to have legs. That's why I say the first week will probably be around 480 because I don't think it's going to have the biggest first week, but I think as far as longevity, I think it's going to stay here and stay around for quite some time, similar to how Don Toliver is currently putting on for hip hop because there's a certain someone, Jermaine Cole, that is completely missing as far as the top 50 when it comes to albums. How does that happen? I have no idea. People say he's in the top 5, top 3. I can't see it at all. Don Toliver currently has the 12th most played album in the world. He's the only one in hip hop that has a high charting album. If you go lower and you keep going lower, I mean, unless y'all want to count Post Malone, of course not. So let's keep going. There we go, Drake. So Drake Take Care is the second highest hip hop album, 25th most played project in the world. So the reason why I say that is because hip hop is definitely in need for an album that has some sort of longevity similar to Don Toliver's Octane. And the absence of Jermaine's Fall Off album, even though that had a phenomenal first week as far as 280,000, which is still the biggest for rap. I mean, obviously it's about to be broken soon, right?
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
But when it comes to that fact, it's still, as of right now, before Iceman, it's the highest charting first week sales for a hip hop album, right? So for that to be completely off of the top 50 for albums is very interesting for me. But when it comes to Drake, I think the longevity is the bigger question, especially when you're suing your label. That means they're not going to go above and beyond. They probably don't want you to flop, but maybe instead of 10 different platforms you can go on to showcase your album, or 10 different looks from, you know, highly established conglomerates, maybe you only get 3. You know what I'm saying? You are still Drake, but at the end of the day, you're suing them. So they could care less, right? They don't want you to flop, but they don't want you to have a views type of resurgence where it looks like, oh, you could beef with your label and put up your highest numbers. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. But, you know, I'm open to being wrong. You know, he is my favorite artist, so we'll see when that time comes. So with that being said, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about the GOAT?
Is it okay I got my dope on me?
Announced in ICEMAN episode 4, set to come out May 14th. And of course, when it comes to the album ICEMAN, that's set to come out May 15th. What are you expecting from one of the most impactful hip hop albums that's set to be released May 15th of this year?